Welcome, dear viewers, to this documentary. My names are Mpano Paulette, and I am a student at Mount Kenya University pursuing my studies in Bachelor's of Mass Media and Communication. In this documentary, you are going to view how public relations has an importance in promoting the image of a country. We're going to focus on Rwanda, and you're going to see, according to different people in Rwanda, what they think of PR, what they think of the importance that PR has in promoting the image of Rwanda. Please stay tuned to watch more of this documentary. Rwanda, a landlocked East African country with a green mountainous landscape. Its renowned Volcanoes National Park is home to mountain gorillas and golden monkeys. The park encompasses 4,507 meters tall Mount Kalisimbi and 4 other forested volcanoes. Among several ways Rwanda uses to communicate, public relations is one of them. Public relations is the process through which an organization or entity communicates to its public to ensure that the right messages are spread out to the right audience. PR today plays a big role in shaping the image of organizations, entities, and countries as well. In this documentary, we will elaborate on how Rwanda's image was significantly shaped by PR and how different PR activities have contributed to sustain this image. Through discussions with different individuals leading the PR of Rwanda, we will understand how PR is connected to promoting an image of a country like Rwanda.
At CNBC Africa. So being a journalist or being a presenter, you understand that public relations is the basis of all the information that gets out. So most of the time, when you're out to probably find a story, the main things you ask is what, when, why, who. So you need to understand how exactly it relates to the public. That's public relations, right? So I try as much as possible to ensure that whatever we try to communicate is either something that we will then tell people how it impacts them, or we'll tell people why they need to hear it. So public relations is crucial to my job. If we didn't understand the essence of communicating, then we would definitely not have the job. The tricky bit now is that sometimes you have a negative story and you're trying to spin it to when you tell people how this will impact them, either negatively or not, you need to tell them that there is a way out. So understanding that bit of when it's positive news and you don't want to sound like you're doing publicity for a company or a certain agenda, and negative news when you don't want to tell people that there is no hope aside. So it's an art by itself, and I believe it's the basic functionality of my job.
I'm a PR practitioner, and I've been practicing public relations and communications for the past 5 years. And PR is an interesting field to work in, really. And what I can say is that what majorly I understand about public relations is that it's a platform to tell your own story. Let's say if I have to, tell a story about myself, it's like that platform where I have to be and talk about myself and the great stuff and all that. But majorly, if I have to be general and talking in terms of organizations and maybe people keeping up with public relations, it's that platform that gives you the power to tell the story yourself. It doesn't have to be told by someone else, yet it is your story. So it is that way you tell the story about yourself or about your organization, about your company. It is that platform. To me, that's what I believe in.
I think the country in itself does a fantastic job at PR, at public relations. So prior, my dad lived in Burundi. So during his time, he used to work there many years ago, many decades ago. But he knew about Rwanda based on the country's history. right? So 20 years later, when I made my decision to come here, he had no basis of or any on-ground basis to tell me this is what Rwanda is or what. But I did some research by myself. Even when I was invited to come, I had never been here before. But I saw a lot about tech primarily that was being marketed, and I saw more about security and the cleanliness, the three things that most people normally talk about when they come to Rwanda. And that played a huge role. The best thing I love about the country is that even after they've given their agenda and they tell you the reason why you should be here, it's not a one-off thing. They say it and then it's a consistent message. You were here because we told you there was a promise of security and good governance, and then we continue even when you're on ground. So the country has really mastered the art of PR, and it's something that I think a lot of people could learn from. I think anyone who takes on the title as a PR practitioner or an influencer or social media advisor, strategist, anything within the same line, has to understand that there's a fine line between compromising yourself and actually getting the message across. By compromising yourself, I mean, for example, you have all these telecommunication companies that want to probably tell the whole world that they have 4G, and they come to you and they give you an amount of money, and you're supposed to tell everyone how great the internet is. But in most instances, the internet is not as good. So you need to communicate the truth, and that is tough when you're faced with bills and the reality on ground. So it's tough understanding what you need to communicate and how you need to communicate it. So PR practitioners should put that in mind, that whenever they put out content or a message, that they're not only portraying the company, but they're portraying the integrity, that they're willing to lose given a certain check. So that means that you're up for hire at any time, but you don't care so much about the message. So that would be my advice to PR practitioners. Just be careful about how you put the message out. And then given the fact that we are in a digital age, anything you put out 20 years, 30 years later, there will always be a trail back to you. So we have to be very, very sensitive and very deliberate about the kind of information we put out.
Rwanda is surrounded by Burundi, Tanzania, Uganda, and Congo-Kinshasa. Rwanda's population today is at 11.92 million. Most foreigners visit and some decide to reside, not only because of the country's touristic places, but also because of its good leadership of His Excellency Paul Kagame, its security and cleanliness. Agriculture is crucial for Rwanda's growth and reduction of poverty. As the backbone of the economy, it accounts for 39% of gross domestic product, 80% of employment, and 90% of the country's food needs. Culture of Rwanda is varied. Unlike many other countries in Africa, Rwanda has been a unified state since pre-colonial times, populated by Abanyarwanda who share a single language and cultural heritage. Music and dance are an integral part of Rwanda's ceremonies, festivals, social gatherings, and storytelling. The most famous traditional dances are Umuhamirizo by men and Gushayaya by women. Traditionally, music is transmitted orally and drums are of a great importance. Today, Rwanda is one of the fastest growing economies in Central Africa. Rwanda's growth was driven by construction, services, agriculture, manufacturing, and mining. Life expectancy, literacy, primary school enrollment, and spending on healthcare have all improved since. Rwanda has also made big strides toward gender equality. Almost 64% of parliamentarians are women, compared to just 22% worldwide. This has enabled women in the country to make economic advances.
To a greater extent, public relations has really promoted Rwanda. Reason being, we tell our story. Rwanda has told its story. It has told the world the good that is in Rwanda. So I believe it's, to a greater extent, it has been promoted through the public relations. When you take a look at, for example, the meetings that have been coming to Rwanda, it has been promoted to be the destination of holding events, exhibitions and all that. And through that, I believe public relations has done a great job in trying to promote Rwanda. So to a greater extent, I would say, public relations has been very, very beneficial to Rwanda. It's continuously telling people the good about yourself and how people around you can relate to you. So in this case, I believe Rwanda has to keep on selling themselves, talking about the good stuff that they are doing and that they have. For example, tourism, that is something that we hold so dearly, so we have to talk about it every now and then. Tourism is continuous, it's not something that comes once and goes. So I think we have to keep on the pace. Consistency is key, so we have to keep on telling people and telling the world the great stuff about Rwanda. If there is good leadership, we need to tell that to the people and the world around us. So I think consistency is key, so we have to keep on, telling the world what we believe in, and that's how PR is important to us, and of course as a country.
As you have seen and heard from our different speakers, public relations plays a big role in promoting the image of a country. For Rwanda specifically, you've heard from our PR expert Bob Rutarindwa that it is important to communicate efficiently and especially the truth about what Rwanda has achieved. It can be about leadership, it can be about security, cleanliness, all those things that Rwanda has to showcase to the outside world. You've also heard that it is very important for Rwanda to communicate the truth. I think it is very important for Rwanda PR practitioners to communicate the truth and making sure that communication they communicate comes as clear as it can be. Thank you so much for watching.